video on putting together shaped face masks. So here we have the two pieces that are going to be the outer. They were cut right side to right side. Now here are my liner pieces. I have folded over the edges that are going against the cheeks because that's where we're going to have a little slot for putting in a filter perhaps into this mask. So I'm just going to stitch straight down this line here. And I actually have a little trick here for you. In the top I've used the colour of the liner, and for my bobbin I've used the colour of the outer. And having stitched one side, I can actually run the machine straight on over the next edge as well, making sure that I can feel where the bump is, where the fold has happened. In fact, if I was doing a whole load of these, I could just line them all up and just keep stitching on and on and on till I'd done maybe 10 or 12 of them. And then all I would need to do is cut the little gaps whenever I take them all out of the machine, and that speeds the whole process up. So here you can see the two pieces, and here's the little bit where I'm going to just snip the gap. Now you can see on this one I have a little bit of the bobbin thread, the blue, showing through. So all I did was actually loosen the tension of the top thread so that the blue doesn't show through. I could probably actually loosen it just very slightly more and that will give a better finish. Next I'm going to line up each of my pieces right side to right side. So I'm putting the nice side of the hem that we did on the lining to the inside so that it looks better whenever we finish the piece. I'm also going to put these two right side to right side, ready to stitch the outers. Mid stitching now, and you can see I did the old trick again where I just stitched the first one, stitched the second piece, and there's the join in the middle. Next step is to snip the seam allowance on the lining. I found that you don't actually need to do that on the outer because it's not going to be stretched once it's in the actual mask itself. Then line up the two pieces right side to right side. So this is our nice side of the lining, and so I'm going to fold it that way and insert it inside so that we have the good side of our pocket lined up here. Now that's hard to do with one hand, so I'm going to turn the camera off and line it up. Here are the bits pinned together right side to right side. You can see at the seam here I have tried to join the two seams together, and I folded the two hem allowances of the outer one way and of the inner the other way, and when I folded it at the bottom I've tried to match the direction. When sewing over the wonky nose bit, I've discovered it's easiest if you kind of turn the mask up so that it forms like a little cup shape, and then that makes it easier to get around the top and come on down here again. Once sewn, I then snip the seam allowance, top and bottom, and also just on those bulky joins I just snip away a couple of little triangles there to reduce the bulk over the nose. Next, turn the whole thing right side out, starting to look like a mask now. I'm going to stop top stitch along the top and along the bottom. However, because I've got blue in the bottom of the sewing machine, I'm going to flip this over and sew this way up. Now I'm going to sew the top one a wee bit wider because that's going to make a slot, and that's where I'm going to slide the nose wire in and all the way up to the top of the nose. So the wire I'm using is actually just from the greenhouse. It's gardening wire, and it's just going to slide right up in there and then go all the way over to the nose area, where I will then bend it into shape and put a couple of little stitches here and here just to hold it in place when washing happens. Now with the nose wire all in and stitched into a little pocket there, I'm sewing the overstitching for the bottom part of the mask, and I'm going a little bit closer to the hem just because I can. So now ready to add the elastic. So this little piece of elastic I line up along the raw edge and then I'm going to take 2 folds in towards this part of the lining material, so the folds end up just meeting like this. If I put the elastic right on the edge here, when I do the fold and then stitch along my outer piece, then hopefully the elastic will be inside, and that will save me having to thread it later. And there it is all folded, and I've added pins to show you where I'm going to stitch, and the elastic should be able to move freely once that stitching is done. And when stitching the beginning and end of this run, you need to remember to do your little bit of back stitching just to tie it all off so that it doesn't unravel, and then you're going to have a lovely little mask all finished, almost. And there we have it, nice little finished mask. Inside you can see that there is the little flap where you can put a filter in. You can buy them online. I tied the elastic just with a reef knot and then slid it round so that the reef knot's actually inside this hem. And ta-da, there we go, nice mask. Next one on the way in a little bit.